Well, hi guys, welcome to me, Fisher Rob, and the Novice Angler channel. I just thought on the entry to our new year, 2018, I might pop a little video on, just a quick one, with a couple of knots for you. So when you're out and about on your banks of river or lake, etc., that this one hopefully will give you a nice easy way of tying a knot which is strong, secure, and remain strong throughout the knot. A lot of knots you can tie up, Palomar knots and things like that, and you just got to be very careful how you tie them because they can weaken the line. But the knot I'll show you today, and I'll show you two. First one is a Grinner knot, and typically put onto a swivel or onto a hook for a hook link. Put your line through, say in this case a swivel, pop that on there, and then make yourself a loop of line, and we're going to turn it so that the shall we say the leader part of the line here is on this side of the loop. Okay, so you sort of turn it a little bit as you make it, and it will pop up onto this side of the loop. Okay, now the swivel at this case tucked away in the hand nicely, and the left part of the line, what goes down to the rest of your main line, maybe you put behind the loop and pull up into the pinch point. So let's just come down a little bit to it and tuck it up in there. Okay, so you've now effectively got two bits of line here at the top of the loop, the actual starting piece, the lead of it, and the following piece of the line, the remainder of the line, tucked the other side of the loop, so at the back. So when you make the loop initially, the short little leader line is on the front edge of the loop, and the rest of it is tucked at the back of the loop and pulled up into the pinch point. Okay, so then what you're going to do is try and keep those two bits together if you can, and with the starting piece, the actual short leader, I've just got my camera balanced here so I get sort of a zoom in a bit for you. This starter piece here, you're going to pass it around through the loop, and you're going to be doing that about 3 or 4 times. I sometimes do it about 5 times, so it goes out and around. So okay, so we've now got effectively a 5-turn Grinner knot, and of course you always wet this section of the line of the knot so that it doesn't cause any overheating when you're tightening the knot up. You can lick it, pop it in a bit of water, whatever you want, and so then you can hold on to the little sliver of line, and in this case the swivel, and slowly pull them together. Do it slowly, don't be in any rush to tighten it right up, because you'll generate a lot of friction and that will weaken the line. So just tie a knot slowly. So I don't know if you can see, but it's not tightened right up, it's just swirling around the line and slowly tightening up. And rather than tighten it right up here, slide it down and do it slowly again. So you're holding on to your main line and you're just going to slide it down towards the link that you're actually tying in here. Let's get a little sliver. So there she is, almost against the actual swivel. So you can tighten it up that bit more, then slide it down again, and then eventually you can just pull on the main line whilst holding the swivel and it will tighten right up. There you go, and that's your Grinner knot. Nice little pyramid knot, tightens beautifully down on itself and will not slip, absolutely fine. And if you've done it right, when you trim all the excess line off, your knot should not slip at all. So I'll just get the old quarter scissors. It's quite funny doing all this whilst balancing this on my lap. dink, and then that's nice and tight. If you wanted to, you can always use a little bit of the old shrink tubing, slide that down, put it over one end, and then shrink it down. Keeps it nice and neat, no chance of snagging anywhere, and leaves the bottom bit still to swivel as you wish. But that's the Grinner knot. So you're just going to make a loop, or thread on whatever you need to thread onto, make the loop, and make sure that the line that you've created the loop with is on the front of the loop. You then take what's left of the line, which will be down here, say, you bring up behind the loop and into the pinch point, and then using the starter of your line you pinch the two of those together by going through the loop repeatedly 4 or 5 times, and then tighten it a little bit, wet it down thoroughly, and then slowly move it down with your fingers and thumb down to it's almost into position by whatever you've tied on, and then pull the main line and tighten it right into position, and that is your Grinner knot. Cut off any excess and you should be good to go. So thanks for watching the first part. I'll flow straight in and cut into the second part, and we'll do a loop to loop knot. Well, okay guys, this is part 2 of the knots video that I'm doing for you today. We're basically looking at a loop knot. An interesting knot that you can do is basically create yourself a loop at each end of the lines that you want to join together. Now, when you've got a double loop at each end of the line like that, it can be a bit fiddly sometimes to make sure the knots are nice and secure. Now, if you do it as a sort of a hitch knot using the 2 loops, then that can actually weaken the line. So try thinking about how you're doing it, and if you can do it this way, you won't weaken the line strength at all, and it will be super strong. Well, basically as strong as these knots, because if those knots slip, then the whole lot will slip. So make sure you've got some good knots for your loops. So first of all, feed one or the other through the other loop, so it doesn't really matter too much which way you do it, but I'm going to do left through right, and then pull those through when you're not caught on the knot. Okay, so we've got the left loop through the right loop. Now use the tail of the right hand loop and feed that through the left loop. Go through there, and then effectively you're going to slide the 2 lines apart so you bring the loops together. Now it's quite good, you do wiggle up and catch up on the hitches, etc., so no big deal about that. Just give it a wiggle, get it all over the top, and you should be left with the 2 loops looking like that. Now it's just literally then a question of pulling them together. Okay, so sometimes you can find that one loop gets folded back and it creates a sort of a double loop here, and that will cut into the line and weaken the line. So make sure when you slip the loops together and then fed the tail through the other end, that when you slide them up they look like that, and it's just a matter then of drawing them tightly together. And once you tighten them right up, I've only got little short pieces here so it's a bit fiddly, but effectively then you'll have the 3 knots in place like that, and that line won't be any weaker, it will retain its strength, and it's a great way of looping end of a hook link or something like that to a line, a main line, or to another down link from say a feeder of some sort, but if you want to, if you come right the way back to that point and give it a little wiggle, you should be able just to slip it apart again and take the knot off. So effectively then just disconnect the hair rig that you've got on, or whatever you've connected via this loop knot. Okay, so there you go. That's a quick little videos on a couple of knots that you can try out there on the bank, during your fishing this year. Thanks for watching.